to the Teach Big podcast, where big energy, big ideas, and big results are just the beginning. I'm your host, Randy Whitney, and whether you're in year 1 or year 20, we're here for you and to help you teach big in every kind of way. That's right, B-I-G, big. Believe in that greatness within you. Here, education is inspired, energy is required, and support for teachers is absolutely non-negotiable. I would greatly appreciate you liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting so that you too can become a part of the Teach Big community. So welcome back to the Teach Big podcast, the place where we lean into our content, our craft, and our compliments. I'm Randy Whitney, and today's guest is very near and dear to my heart. She is one of my brilliant and talented consultants for Teach Big. Her knowledge base is vast, which is only surpassed by her big heart. Today, she will be sharing the small moments from her life and how we can turn the small moments into big memories for our students. Please help me welcome Walmart Teacher of the Year and Humble ISD Teacher of the Year, Jill Romig. Jill, how are you, my friend?
I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited that you're here. So tell me a little bit about you.
Oh my goodness. There's so much.
There is so much. So many layers. So many talents.
I won't give too much away.
Okay.
Because I know lots in my questions, I'm sure. Well, I'm just a small town girl living in a big city now.
I think there's a song about that somewhere.
Yeah, there is, for sure. So I grew up on a farm in Hardin, Texas, out in East Texas. I think there's population like 700.
Got it.
So I graduated with 70 kids.
Okay.
Very different from where I am now. Like my own 2 kids will graduate with about 900 per their grade. It's crazy. Went on after high school, went to college at Texas A&M. Whoop. And I got a degree actually in tourism, of all things, not even education.
I did not know that.
Yep, tourism
No
management.
kidding. Wow.
Yeah, worked at
That's
Minute
why
Maid
you
Park.
love to travel.
It is. It's a big part of it. And I worked at Minute Maid Park with the Astros.
I did not know that
I did
either.
about 6 months. And then I was like, no, this is not for me. It sounds fancy.
Yeah.
It was very stressful.
Really? What was
Yeah.
stressful about that?
Working with like millionaires and billionaires on the suite level.
Got it.
And, you know, they yell
So
at
like
you.
the people who would come to the games?
The owners of the suites.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if their door shut too loudly, I would get the phone call that was very angry. Hey,
Oh.
go fix my door. I mean, it was
Oh my.
very stressful because I'm a very positive person and that makes me very nervous.
Okay. That is so interesting.
Yeah. So then I
See,
left
there's just
that.
things you just never knew
Yeah.
that you didn't know.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So then I decided, well, my husband, I was newly married. Husband is an athletic trainer at a high school. Honestly, at the time, not knowing what I know now, I was like, oh, cool. I could have summers off with my husband, which is ridiculous.
Right.
Looking back, not knowing any better.
That's not how it
because
really
that's not
goes
how
for
it
teachers.
is.
No.
No. So I did. I went into education and I loved it. I remember walking in with like my suit on the first day and teachers looking at me like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, girl?
You know? And then here I am 24 years later, and I couldn't imagine doing anything other than what I'm doing now.
Well, I could not imagine you doing anything other than you're doing right now too. Not just because you work with me alongside of me with Teach Big, but because you are a motivator. You're an encourager. And if you're not with kids and teachers, then I would just feel like your talents are being wasted because you are so encouraging and you always find the greatness in other people all the time. I see it in you all the time, and I love that so much.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. So we're here to talk about small moments making big differences. So talk to me about how you define small moments. What are small moments to you?
Well, it's kind of interesting we're talking about that because just this morning, I know you've filmed a lot lately. She actually, if you haven't
Lots
seen
of
them,
filming.
And my own 2 kids, she did some podcasts with. And as I'm watching, I started thinking about, you know, everyone has these small moments in life, right, that define them.
Of course.
And I think about it like have you ever done a connect the dots workbook, right?
Right.
Start at 1 and there's like 100 on the
Right.
page you have to go in order.
Right.
I think of life as that from the time you're conceived, God has your connect the dot page already ready. It's done.
Oh, Jill, that's
So-
so good.
That's really being here with you. I felt like that was what I was supposed to say today.
Wow.
So every single one of us has a Connect the Dots page. Everybody. And some of ours, it's the way life is shorter.
Yeah, sure.
Some are longer.
Sure.
But we are supposed to connect the dots to fulfill our masterpiece of our life. So those numbers are all your small moments.
I am not sure why I'm the host here, Jill. I feel like that needs to be you, friend. That is amazing. I love that. Great analogy. You know, your son is also excellent at analogies,
Yes,
by
he
the
is.
way. So I guess that apple doesn't fall too far from your tree. Yeah. Connecting all the dots of our small lives, and that our little dots are already drawn out for us, but it is our job to travel the dots.
Yes. And some of those dots are going to be positive, you know, kind of like hills and valleys that we
Sure.
learn about. You know, but each of them, no matter if it's a positive or not so great dot, is meant for us to learn from. And then it's up to us how we're going to take that small moment and turn it into our purpose.
So good.
So.
And, you know, thinking about that too, how long are we going to spend on this dot before we go to the next one?
Absolutely.
You know? That's real good, girl. Yeah. All right. So what are some of the small moments that stand out from your own childhood? Like, let's keep it to, well, I know you don't remember the moment you were born, but let's keep it from birth to elementary age, and then we'll kind of go up from there. So what are some small moments that are snapshots for you?
You know, when I was thinking through that, I was thinking like even for everybody that's watching, think about in your own life having maybe a personal and a professional moment.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, can you look back in your own life and think about something that happened that defined your personality?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Sort of.
So not defined just any part of you, but defined specifically your personality.
Right.
Okay.
In an education, we can tie that back to how did that lead you to become an educator?
Okay.
Because I know we like to talk about that. How did it lead you there?
Right. How did you get there?
Right. So for me, I know I grew up in church, and the golden rule, I can't remember the exact moment if we're talking about small moments, but to me, that's a small moment that from early age, that is the one thing I remember being instilled is treat others the way you want to be treated. So then that led to me to empathy. So I'm a very empathetic person.
You really are.
Like I will look at a room, and if I see someone upset or concerned, I
You
want to
gravitate to them.
Yeah. So that would be a small moment there in my little dot.
Got it.
And then professionally, like where we are today, right, as a consultant, is we're on stage in front of a group of amazing educators, and you have to have some confidence when it comes along to that. That also ties into, I believe for myself, as a young child, like my daughter that you've met, I was a theater child myself.
This makes sense to me. Yes.
So in elementary and younger, my parents put me into community theater.
Okay.
In the summers. So I developed my confidence on stage and my confidence in speaking in front of a crowd early on. So
And that has really served you very, very well.
Yes, and I
because
see that.
You've been with Teach Big for how long now?
Well, 9 years with you as a consultant, but prior to that, probably 8 years. So almost 20.
Oh my
We're going on
goodness.
almost 20 years.
Well, if memory serves me correct, you were actually pregnant with Renner when we met, correct?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
And he's 17 now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a neat journey.
It is.
Hey, that means we've been each other's, some of our dots have been each other.
Yes.
That's neat.
It is neat.
That's fun. That's so fun. Okay, so what are some small moments that stand out from your youth? So now let's move on up to like middle school, high school. What are some small moments for you there?
That's a good one. So something happened, I remember, where and I'm kind of even going back to childhood for a second. I remember being in kindergarten in public school, and I was very outgoing as a kindergartner. And then I went to private school for 2 years, and something happened. This is a small moment that I was bullied by a child because I'm a quirky person myself, and very gullible. And I remember I had a girl on the playground, give so-and-so your snack. And I didn't know any better. And I was just like, okay. You know, she yelled at me and told me how to do that. So when that happened, I just remember a switch being turned off into me. For some reason, I wasn't as confident with friendships. So when I went back to public school, third grade, I was a completely different child than I was when I was in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
But then by the time I got to middle school, I finally was finding myself again because I was getting more involved with sports and band and all the things like that. So I think gaining strength and being more involved, especially in high school. So I was real big in FFA. That was my thing.
That's the jam around here at the ranch.
Yes, absolutely. So that was me too. And I kind of found myself again. It's crazy to kind of think kind of full circle to my life of just, again, bringing up my confidence, going back into my theater moment of pulling that in because I was president of my chapter. I was a district officer, went to state leadership, did all the things.
All those dots are connecting.
And that all helped lead me on my path to want to be an ag teacher. That's what I went to school to A&M for my first semester.
This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Also makes so much sense why you love my chickens so much.
Could be.
Could be. Something about
We
that.
might have to talk about chickens later.
Yeah, we'll talk about chickens later. So as you were talking about a professional moment and a personal moment, for me in junior high, both of those happened for me in the same class. So I had Miss Thompson. She was a wonderful math teacher. And I had gone to another part of our district schools and my parents moved. When we moved, that feeder pattern put me into another set of schools. So when I walked in the very first day of Miss Thompson's math class, there was a little boy in there, and I didn't know him obviously at that time, and I was coming a couple days after the school year had started. So they put me at the very end. She had already alphabetized everybody. You know how they used to do that? So maybe some still do. I'm not sure, but alphabetized. And so she put me after the W's, which a little boy sitting in front of me, and his name was Kenny. And he can tell you to this day what I was wearing that day. He remembers when I walked in, and it wasn't long after that he told his parents that he found who he was going to marry. And we were in junior high, like early junior high, not even 8th grade junior high, early junior high. And then later on, there was this beauty pageant in our high school, and we were 17 years old. And his dad told me many years later, after I walked across the stage, I didn't win or anything, but didn't even come close. But when it was my turn to walk across the stage, Kenny's dad turned to Kenny's mom and said, "That's our daughter-in-law, just wait." I'm like, oh my goodness, and I didn't know those stories until later. So that's personal snapshot little moments. And then on a professional side, also in Miss Thompson's math class, I'm not even mathy, but we had a project and we had to create this big board, like a poster board, and make a game. And so I did that, and I remember having so much fun with it. And when I was presenting it, I made 100 on it, which I'm a fond fan of 100s. I'm like the perfect, I want to be perfect. And so I struggle with that a lot. Miss Corbett, my third grade teacher, helped me say, look, you don't have to be perfect. It's the pursuit of the passion. Okay, got it. But I still yearn for the pursuit of the passion, right? Yes. To be perfect. So I say all of that to say, Miss Thompson, after that project was over, she said, "Randy, that's the best project I've ever seen. Not just in this class, but ever. You did fantastic. And if you are not sharing those talents someday with people, everyone will be cheated." And I was like, oh, I'm good at something in math? Yes. Are you serious right now? And I don't think I was very good at whatever it was in math, but my presentation skills were good. And I remember that control what you can. And I remember thinking I controlled what I could in that math project because I didn't know the math, Jill. Did not know the math. But I knew I could control the delivery. And so I remember those two moments. Okay, enough about me. So as you reflect on small moments in your adulthood, which ones stand out to you?
Oh, my goodness. Actually, I thought about one I wanted to share that leads into my adulthood.
Okay,
so
do it.
When I was in high school, even before I was driving, before my license, being raised on a farm, we had hay production.
Okay.
And cattle and all the things.
We understand that.
Right, with FFA. And from an early age, my brother and I both worked on the farm. I drove the tractor and raked the hay. My dad baled the hay. And I remember coming home from school and being exhausted because I did all the sports and not really sports, but like cheerleading and band and all the things. Come home exhausted, but it was still an expectation. You help on the farm. So my work ethic was very, very, very strong from a very young age, was being responsible with your time, being responsible for your family and taking pride in what you do and delivering a good product. Kind of thing, if that makes sense. And to this day, my dad is, 70 years old now and still has that hay production.
And still doing that.
And I'll help here and there if he ever needs me. So,
yeah. Little Jill jumping in a tractor.
Fun. I love it. It's been great.
I love that so much.
So your question was about as an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
So as an adult, which one of those things stands out to you? So the hay production with your dad, is there another one? You said that was at high school and kind of led into the adult. Is there another in your adulthood that you can think of, a small moment that was another one of your dots?
Yes. Actually, I have a couple. One of them is actually, I'm going to tell you a negative one, which doesn't really mean negative.
But that happens, yeah.
It means I was not meant for that moment. That was not meant for me. And that's what I really encourage people to see. I've had some friends recently go for job interviews.
Right.
They're educators.
Sure.
And they really, really wanted a job, but then they didn't get it and they were upset. And I so badly want them to feel that it's okay.
It's okay.
So I know we kind of hear the thing about closed doors are closed for reasons. And I remember, again, fresh out of college, professionally, I don't even remember what it was. It was like, to be an insurance adjuster or something, that's nothing to do with you. But I so badly just wanted a job. I wanted to be able to make some money. And I went in and it was just not
your thing.
The thing. And then I was just so upset that I didn't get it. And I'm like, why am I even upset over this?
Right.
This is ridiculous. So I just remember looking back on it now, I wish I had not been so disappointed or upset because after I worked at Minute Maid Park that summer, I remember it was right before 9/11, actually. I went and interviewed for a teaching position at my school I taught at. And I did not have an education background. I hadn't even started my program yet, my alternative certification program.
I did not realize that.
I hadn't started. And I went in for the interview, but the principal said, look, there's just something about you I believe in. So we're not even going to ask you these questions we would ask someone who was certified. We believe in you. We're going to give you, we know that you are going to be starting this program. The job's yours if you want it. And I just, that was a small moment that I appreciated. And I did. I started, and 9/11 was my third day of teaching that day.
Are
9/11.
you serious right now?
And then that was a small moment for me because I did not freak out. I stayed calm. None of my students in my class knew what had happened that day. I knew what happened.
Sure.
Early on in the morning, but I never let it on to my students. And that defined me going forward, that I was always calm.
You're there for them first.
And just persistent in being a strength for your students. Not that I wasn't afraid to cry. I was not afraid to cry. I would read books with emotion and not cry in front of my kids.
Right.
But in things like that could be traumatic for kids, I always wanted to be
thought
their
of them
strong
first.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I did not realize that 9/11 was on your third day of teaching.
It was.
I did not know that. I was pregnant with Lolo.
Oh, wow.
On 9/11, yeah. Yeah, I remember it so well. I mean, we all do.
Yes.
When you were talking about the job thing not working out for a couple of your friends, it reminds me of another moment in my life. I remember being a young girl. I don't remember if I was in junior high or high school, but my mother is an outstanding educator, great interviewer, great speaker. She was a presenter for many years and super bubbly and brilliant. Any interview, any job she ever interviewed for, she got it. I mean, you could know if she was going to go in, she was going to get the job. Well, she came home from this one interview. She wanted to move districts for whatever reason. I was young. I don't know why at the time. But she just wanted something different. And she came home and she was telling us at dinner, she's like, I did not get that job. And I remember my dad saying, oh, yeah, you did. You got the job. You know, you're so good at interviewing. She said, no, you don't understand. I was horrible. And my dad said, what? There's no way you could be horrible. She said, yeah, I was almost outer body. She said, I was talking super fast. I wasn't even answering the questions. I was talking super fast. And it was outer body. And I saw myself, but I couldn't stop myself from acting like that. And I have no idea. I've never acted like that anywhere ever. I don't know why I did that. She said, but I'm telling you, I didn't get the job. And my dad said, well, then there's another one out there for you. That's not the job you were meant to have. Fast forward, we won't mention the specific tragedy, but she did not get that job. And the tragedy that went on to happen in that school only a couple weeks into the school year would have defined and changed our family forever.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just interesting how we are meant to be where we're meant to be. And we can try to connect a dot that's not on our page, and it just doesn't work out. And, you know, that's the only interview that she wasn't amazing at. And I've never forgotten that as an adult, that if you're trying so hard for something you want, it may not be what's on your connect the dot page.
Yes.
Right. And I remember my dad's comment, well, then there's something else out there for you. It's not meant to be. So anyway, that is interesting, and interesting that she remembers this out of body experience almost, that she could tell she was bombing it. She didn't know why. She couldn't fix it. She couldn't stop herself, but she was. But God had a much bigger plan for her. Right. And knew, and maybe it was a bigger plan for her to grow in a different area. Maybe it was to keep her safe.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. So let's go to teaching now. So thinking back to your time as a classroom teacher, what small moments shaped you into the educator that you are today?
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember when I told you how I first started, had no experience, right? Mm-hmm. So my principal was wonderful, and she said, here's what we're going to do. You know, we're going to put you in. We're going to give you mentors. You're going to go get to watch other teachers. And I did. And I didn't know anything about who I wanted to be as a teacher. But I knew that, okay, if she gave me these teachers to watch, then they must be master teachers. That's what I need to be like.
Sure.
So I went and watched some and this is not knocking anyone's teaching style. I want to say that
everybody's
clearly,
different.
We're
sure.
all different, the way that we handle things. So I went and I remember watching some teachers, and I saw this one teacher specifically that was just very, very hardcore about discipline. And I kind of want to say didn't have the best relationship with students as far as having their respect.
Okay.
They were fearful.
Got it.
I'll just say that. They were fearful of the teacher. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to make my kids fearful of me. So I went back to my class and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this, even though it was not natural, because that's not who I am. It's just that's not my style. So I remember had this this was probably a year, maybe after my first year. I had the student come in. I was like, okay, I'm gonna lay down the law, you know. It was like second day of school, and this kid's desk was a disaster. It looked like a big trash can.
Got it.
And I was like, I'm going to make him clean that up. And I jumped over his desk.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I would never do that today.
No, I can't even imagine that from you at all.
Because that was a piece of advice I was given, is make them fearful, dump it over, have them clean it up. I've learned a lot since
my
then.
gosh.
I did. That year was awful with that poor kid. Like, I really look back on it and I wish I could find that kid to this day. He's grown now, and apologize for doing that, because I now know what that did to him. That embarrassed him. How could he trust me if she's going to do that on day 2?
Yeah.
And make me look ridiculous in front of my peers. So every single day that year was awful. Like, he came in mad, angry. It was awful.
So do you think your principal sent you to observe that particular type of style to maybe show you what not to be?
I don't think so.
Or do you think it wasn't near that intentional? It was, hey,
No.
here's some people to observe, just go observe, and it just
Right, 'cause-
happened to be
Yeah, because that teacher was an excellent
content teacher.
excellent content
Right.
teacher, and I did learn a lot from
Right,
their
but she
content
didn't have the compliment
delivery.
side down.
It wasn't the compliment side. Yeah. So after that, I was like, never again. That's awful.
Not for
That's
me.
not the way you do that. And I eventually went to a training that really teaches you to find the heart of the child. And
Excellent.
I still to this day use that strategy, even with my own 2 children, is, ask them, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You really think that's the best choice? And
That's
kind of
the best
play around
choice.
with it versus getting the kids defensive.
Does it have the word capturing in it?
It possibly could.
Okay.
Without me saying that, yes.
Okay.
That changed the whole trajectory of my compliment style of teaching.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we have the content, the craft, and the compliments.
Yes.
And you do have to have all three
You
of
need
those
all three.
things.
Yes.
And honestly, having all three of those things cuts down on the discipline
Yes.
because all the pieces are working together.
Yes.
So I was sent to that same training probably a few years earlier than you were, but it was all about hearts also, and dealt with kids, and it was amazing. And they're still doing those same trainings today, and I wish that every educator could attend those trainings because it will make you see things through a different lens entirely.
Yes.
Yeah. And that whole compliment section is a big deal. In fact, going, because I'm a nerdy educator, teacher girl. So I look at everything through like, the TEKS lens, the T-test lens, and, now we've got TIA going on. And so, but one of the T-test components, it's domain number 3, talks about building those relationships with students. And I think it's so important that we do have good mentors and good people to watch in our lives. And I remember being the new teacher doing all the watching. And then the more I taught, I remember a defining moment for me when I realized, oh, wait, I'm not the one watching. I'm the one being watched. And it was weird because I was used to being the baby. I was the youngest. Everybody, oh, here's cute little Randy doing such a cute little job. To, hey, what are you doing? How do I do that? And I remember thinking, oh, shoot, I don't know. I'm not the grown up here. And then I realized I was the grown up here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we are either being mentored or we're mentoring.
Yes. I love that.
Oh, goodness. Such good stuff. Yeah.
So I remember after going to that heart training,
Yes.
and utilizing it in the class, I then eventually, which I know some of us go, oh, please no, but
Right.
I eventually was me and my partner teacher. A lot of the times year after year, they kept giving us the tough kids, and I did not mind it because
Me
to me it was
either.
a
I
challenge.
love it.
And my last year in the classroom, my kids from my last year of teaching are now freshmen in college. They're that age. And I had this one boy who I just adored. And I still keep in touch with him. He plays football at UT RGV. He's in the
Love
Valley.
that.
But he was my challenge kid. I'd always heard from some of the teachers that he'd be my challenge kids. But he and I just connected. And he is now just blossomed from this tough kid
Love
who
it.
had some hard times and just here he is playing college ball and excelling with his schoolwork. And it's just so neat to see that your small moments, like I said, with that poor kid that I dumped
Right.
his desk over, I learned from that. I feel so bad for him, but it led me to be who I needed to be for this other child.
Oh, that's
Do you
a
see
good
that?
realization. That's really good, Jill. Yeah, I'm having to let that sink in for a second. I really like that a lot because, we all have those moments as teachers that we wish we could take back. Kind of like my mom, outer body, you're seeing it happen and you can't make yourself stop. And you're like, oh, that was such a rude thing to say. I can't believe that I just said that. That's not even me. But there's something inside of you that makes sure that never happens again. And so you're just getting prepared for the students that are coming after.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I like that a lot. So along that same vein with it kind of goes into our next question about mistakes we've made,
Yeah.
right? Because we're human, girls and guys, in the world of education. So we've all learned from our mistakes. But looking back in your days in the classroom, what are some small moment mistakes that you learned from? We know about the dumping over the desk. Can you think of any others that you might want to share? Because I think it's really important, especially to sweet new teachers out there. You're not going to be perfect. I understand the desire to be perfect. That's good. The desire to be perfect is good. But to attain perfection, it's just not going to happen. It's just not who we're designed to be as people. But I think it's important that they realize that the mentors, the people they're looking up to, were in their shoes.
Right.
And how can we help them realize you're going to make mistakes, and here's what you need to do to never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
So can you think of any others she made?
Yes. I know another one it has to do with pride. Is I remember just being afraid to ask because I didn't want to look like I didn't know, like that, or that I was ignorant, or, yeah. So
Right.
like, even tying in, let's see, I remember, we were having a PLC, and I don't know why I didn't know this. I guess I didn't know my TEKS well enough, but someone asked me how I was teaching compound sentences. And instead of, I think they must have put me on the spot because I felt very uncomfortable. And they're like, oh, I don't remember how I said it, but they said something, yeah, are you not teaching fanboys? And I'm like, I honestly had never heard that term.
Oh, you hadn't heard it.
At that time, I had never
Got
heard
it.
it.
Got it.
So I was like, no, I'm not teaching that. They're like, well, then how are you teaching compound sentences? And I was just,
I don't know.
I was
don't
deer in
know.
the headlights.
Yeah.
So I should have spoken up and put my pride aside and been like, that's a good question. I'm not teaching it well because I don't have a clear understanding of what a compound sentence is. Can you teach me? Can you explain fanboys?
So that's so
something,
poignant.
is just don't be afraid to be vulnerable. We're not judging. We're all here for you. We're all here for each other. And
Listen and don't judge, right?
It's just like whenever I'm out presenting PDs around Texas, I don't want any teacher to ever feel like
They should have known everything.
Right? No.
Yeah.
I don't want them to ever feel that way. Don't be afraid to say, hey, Jill,
I don't know.
I need help with complex sentences. I've heard that term, but I still don't get it. Maybe they've learned it, but that didn't sink in.
Right.
So putting aside that, but then also for the teachers who do know things, this can come down to mistakes as well, small mistakes, is your delivery. So if I'd had...
Your craft.
Yes, your craft within, well, yes, that, but also the delivery with the other teachers. So if you're an experienced teacher on the team and you're at a PLC or planning meeting,
Got
whatever,
it.
and you've got this new baby teacher, be mindful so you're not just telling them, oh, how are you teaching compound sentences?
Got it.
They're going to want to, kind of fight or
Get in that
flight.
shell.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe say, hey... and you might have experienced, you might notice this teacher is struggling. You might notice that because you've seen some work or whatever, but be like, hey, I want to show you something that I've done with my kids. Are you interested? And just approaching them in a different manner to make them feel a little more at ease with
and at
learning
home.
without having to ask for support.
Oh, so smart.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just in the words that we choose.
Yes.
And some of it's in the body language and some of it's in our tone of voice. We talk about that on the script book and how we have to make sure that our delivery has all of those things going in, or we're sending a mixed message.
Yeah.
Our pastor one time said, he was telling a story about how tone of voice mattered. And he said, if I go up to a little baby and say, I love you, then they're like, oh, so happy. But if I go up to a baby and say, I love you, they kind of wince and start crying. They don't know what the words are. He said, I could go up to a baby and say, I think you're ugly. And the baby would just smile from ear to ear. Yeah. So we understand more about the body language and the tone before we understand the vocabulary itself. And so it sounds like that's also what happened to you that day. That teacher may have gotten kind of big, kind of condescending, and, and made you feel that way even without the words. And maybe you would have been just fine explaining compound sentences had she not instantly made you feel like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's some good sharing right there, Jill. Yeah, from not just the teacher perspective, but the teacher who is the mentor is also really important.
Right.
Since you've become a Teach Big consultant, and thank God you have, are there any small moments that you've had that have impacted you in that capacity?
I've had so many.
Many?
I've just met so many amazing educators,
Mm-hmm.
and just to hear their stories. Gosh, I don't know if I could think of just like one story, but I do want to share one that happened recently.
Okay. I can't wait.
So,
Do I know this one already?
yes.
Okay.
Is it okay for me to share?
I'm not sure which one you're sharing, but go,
talking
girl.
about the chicken.
Oh, yes.
Can I go ahead and share this
Yes,
one?
yes,
Okay.
yes. That's a good one.
So early in the podcast, you might have heard Randy made a comment about chickens. Oh, you chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of known as the chicken lady at our trainings.
She is.
I don't want to give away too much in case you haven't had our trainings yet and you go to one. But
You need to be surprised. It's so much fun.
So one of the things I've learned being an educator and an educator to teachers is really, from having been a classroom teacher, we've seen the office memes and stuff about people rolling their eyes like, another PD. I don't want to be here, and we see it too. So the presenters, we see the faces, and I don't want anyone to ever walk in and be feeling that way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is going to be a waste of my 6 hours or however long we're together.
Could have been an email.
Exactly. Could have been an email. So I always started where I want to break the ice, but not do an icebreaker because,
Right.
we
Don't want
like
those either.
So I'm known as the chicken lady because I bring this chicken with me to all of my trainings. And I start the training, of course, which is introducing who we are. And we love to reward our teachers with prizes.
Of course.
So we give out, either tokens or a piece of paper or something for you to write your name and get a prize. And I want to start it like that so that they can have the opportunity to earn prizes if they want to.
If they want to, sure.
Because sometimes you have introvert teachers that just want to observe. That's fine.
And that's okay. Let them learn their way.
Right. So I'll ask, a question. So let's say it's beginning of the school year. I might say, hey, I see we're back from summer break. Would anyone like to share what they did over summer break? Something fun you did. It could be even just that I got to sleep in. So then
That is fun.
I just say it like that. And then, a few teachers might raise their hand and I'll be like, oh, awesome. I'm going to go to you first. I said, oh, but wait. I forgot to tell you something. You've got to earn your token that you're about to get. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? So I have this chicken that you squeeze it and it goes, wah, wah. You've probably seen those. If you ever go to Buc-ee's, they usually have the ginormous.
Yes.
I don't get the ginormous ones because if you throw it, hit someone in the head, knock them out.
There's the thing.
So they're small. So I throw it out to the audience. The teacher has to get it. They squeeze it and then they say, cha-cha, because that's the name of the chicken. His name is Cha-Cha. So we do this, and throughout the workshop, we might bring the chicken back out and toss it around. Well, sometimes, not every training, but sometimes if an order comes in from a certain place, I have like my teacher prizes. I have these little chickens,
Yes.
so that they can go and earn, and they can walk away with their own little chicken. So I was doing
They
PD.
too can be chicken ladies.
Yes, they can be chicken ladies like Teacher Jill.
Yes.
So back in August, I was doing a PD in Humble ISD, my home. And there was a school that I was at, and I had my chickens. And this teacher really wanted this chicken. So she did. She did
Earned
the training.
her chicken.
She earned her chicken. Well, earlier this week, I was in my district. I was at some kind of training. I was with some librarians, and I was sitting right next to her, and we were talking, and she's like, oh, what school are you at? I said, well, I don't really have a home campus anymore. I've been in the district for 24 years, but I'm a guest teacher. I'm a dyslexia teacher. I do all these things, but really I work for Teach Big. That's my main job. I'm a consultant. She looks at me. She's like, you're the chicken lady. And I was like, what?
Awesome.
And she said, yeah, I went to your training in August from my school. She's like, that was the best training I've ever had. I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She said, and I got a chicken. Actually, I have like 15 now.
Oh my.
So what? She's like, yeah, my kids bring them. I have a 4th of July chicken. I've got a Valentine's chicken. I said, well, how do you use it? She said, I use it as a speaking device. So if the kids want to share, they have to hold the chicken too, just like how we did it.
Kind of distracts from the I'm nervous about speaking thing. Yeah.
Yes. So that was really neat to hear another teacher get excited about something and then be able to utilize it back in her class.
So basically you made a difference with the chicken, Jill.
With the chicken, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to brag on you for another moment here. So you may or may not know this, but something that Jill is a master at is student camps. She is our student camp guru. She connects with kids better than anyone I've ever known, I think. And so one of the things that she does really brilliantly, even when she does teacher in services. So let me back up a bit. All of the consultants of Teach Big, they have my core knowledge, my content. But each of you ladies have your own craft and how you deliver it, because everyone has to be original in that way. So the backbone is there for content, but the craft is kind of up to you guys. I want you to have freedoms within that and be creative. Well, one of the things that Jill started incorporating was this trivia thing. So she'd put up trivia like at the beginning of a break, and by the end of the break, they can come up with answers and get little prizes. Well, I was afforded the opportunity to work with a really large virtual school district. And I remember thinking, oh, wait, Jill has done lots of virtual teaching. I had done quite a bit as well. And we had talked in the past about we've really got to just reach through the camera and grab their attention. You know, we've got to pretend like they're right there with us. And one of the things I borrowed from you, and you may not know this, Jill, is I thought, you know what? Jill says to start with trivia to get their attention. So I think I'm going to start with trivia this time around. I taught a lot of virtual things, but I thought, you know what? These are high school students. I'm going to really capture their attention with trivia, but I thought, they're high school students. So what do high school students love? And I thought, they love like gross things. So I would, have trivia about saliva or, weird things like that. And at the end of the course, I taught a whole course. And at the end of the course, I was asking the students, I'm all about, what's your favorite thing? I was asking them, and they said, my favorite thing was the trivia. I'm like, that's great. Did you learn anything about writing? But it was really neat. They had made a connection, and I learned that from you, Jill.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So, and actually, Jill has a neat story about how you decided to become a consultant long before you were one.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story?
Yes. So, again, Randy mentioned earlier that I went to her first training when I was pregnant with my son. So that was in 2007. I had him in 2008. So
long ago.
So that would have been fall of 2007.
We were babies.
We were. And I remember going, the very first one I ever went to, I just fell in love with your presentation, your craft, obviously the content, because I used it in my classroom. And after I went, I was also a writing coach on my campus that year, classroom teacher and first year writing coach. So my principal sent me because I'd heard through the grapevine this was a great training. So I went and came back because my principal's like, I'm going to send just you, come back, report. We'll go forward
go get it,
with
girl.
whatever we do. So I went to the training, fell in love, talked to you. And I even asked you, or I told you this about this stuff. And you're like, just bring your principal, let her see for herself too.
Yes.
So we signed up for another training. My principal and some more teachers came back with me. Principal was like, this is amazing. So we ended up, I think, that next summer or something, like 4 elementary schools went in
Bunch
together.
of you guys,
Yes, to train pre-K through 5. And so we did that, and I was always at training
all the time.
That's how I got to know you.
All the time, yes.
Was just by being at training all the time. And the year before I quit to become a consultant, I was at my summative with my principal, and she asked me, where do you see yourself? What is your end goal for your professional career? And I said, well, my end goal is I would love to be a consultant for Randy Whitney with back then it was just called the Writing Academy.
Right.
I said, because I'm so passionate, and I've seen the effects it's had on all of my students, not just my high achieving students,
Right.
but my babies who don't pass STAR, and then they come to me and I can get them there because it instills confidence. Yeah. So that's what I told her. That's what I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know how people got to do jobs like this, but I prayed on it and I just connected the dots along the way. I let God connect my dots. And then I was going through just some hard times in my life, and I knew I needed to take off to focus on mental health and being a good mom and a good wife. And then 2 months later, I reached out and you offered me the position to come and work with you. And the rest is history. So it's almost 10 years now.
Wow. Yes. That's so fun. That was pretty brave of you in your summative when your principal asked you that to say you were going to be doing something else. Girl, that's some brave guts right there. Yes. Well, I sure am glad that you had that in your heart because you have been such an asset. It has just been such a great ride, and the amount of educators that you're affecting is just phenomenal, and you're inspiring. You take your small moments and you put them all together so that we're making big moments for teachers. Right. And I think that's so neat. So, okay. Last question, unless we want to keep talking, of which we can still do also, but what are your takeaways about the small moments and how they've shaped your life as a whole? Not any one particular time frame now, but your life as a whole. What's the big picture?
My big picture is to serve others. It really is. I remember being at church a few years ago, and we had a guest pastor. I think he was from Brazil. And his whole message was about being a Barnabas in this life, which Barnabas in the Bible was known to be an encourager. He said, so whether you're a Barnabas or a Barnabella, that's what he called it if you're a female. So
cute.
That was a small moment at church that I remembered. I'm like, the whole message I felt like, I'm like, that's me.
That's me.
Because I love that gift that I've been given, is to be that of an encourager. So that's just, I feel in every aspect of my life for my children. I encourage them on the daily. My husband, he comes home hard things at, his job. Other consultants, I love leading our consultant team.
You are such a good mentor to them.
I love them.
It's priceless.
And that's the big thing with me, is I want them to know they are always loved and appreciated. And then at church, I'm on the welcome team for our children's ministry. So me and this other lady are the first faces they see to come in and check in. And I always want to love on those people
and serve them so well.
Yes.
So if we were to take the 5 love languages quiz, I'm pretty sure that you and I both would be acts of service.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I feel that for sure.
Always the one volunteering. Even if I don't have the time, I'm like, I'm going to make the time.
Those who volunteer more.
Yeah. That's true.
Yes, and love every minute of it. Love it all. Well, Jill, thank you so much for being here today. I knew you had some neat insight from the beginning, middle, all the way to the end, and I wanted you to share that with teachers, especially some of our newer teachers out there, because it's such a neat journey that it's okay when the crummy things happen. Let's learn from them. And it's also great when the great things happen. And connecting all the dots, what a great analogy. Yes. I love that so much.
That we each have our own page ready. It's there. It's up to us to find the dots and connect them to make that masterpiece.
Man, I'm not even sure I have an ending that can top that, Jill. That's good stuff right there, friend. Well, I definitely want to have you on again. We will definitely be doing more of these together because Jill has so much to share, so much insight, so much wisdom. Sometimes it is about the content, but a lot of times it's about the craft, which I think you are a master at, and you're also a master at content. You know so much about all things language arts, and then the compliments and how you make people feel. So you are the trifecta, Jill. You are for sure.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for joining us here today. If this message inspired you, and I don't see how it couldn't, share that with a colleague. And better yet, bring that encouragement back to your own classroom and start teaching with your whole heart so that you too can teach big and believe in greatness. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and our website. We now have all the podcasts on our actual website. So go to teachbig.com, click on podcast, and you can can watch and hear us there as well. So until next time, think big, teach big, and believe in the greatness that is already within you. Are you still there? If you're still there, Jill and I have a little bit more to talk about. Jill, tell me another story.
Okay. So this past year, I was in, can I say where I was or no? Just say a school.
In a district that starts with an M.
Okay. So, yes, that's where I was. I was in a great district that we work with a lot. And we a lot of times do K through 8 a lot of times. But this time, I love being able to work with high school because I don't often, but I was. And we were doing a make and take workshop. And in came people of all, teachers of all areas.
All contents.
All contents. And I had this kind of a bigger man he was a football coach. So he was probably there just to get some hours, right?
Sure.
And he came in, I could kind of tell he's just kind of like gruff around the edges and just kind of sat there. And then as we start getting started and going through the workshop, the training, I could tell he was actually paying attention. He was actually doing the activities.
Nice.
To where by the end of it, he was raising his hand to volunteer, not just to get the coins, but he was completely in it.
All in.
So the training ends. I'm packing up. Pretty much everyone's gone but this man. And he comes up to me privately and he says, so Jill, I need to tell you something. Because I just tell him my name's Jill. I'm like, "Oh, only Jill." I said, "Yes, sir." And I was a little nervous.
Like,
He's a big football guy. He's like, I had to be here. I had to get hours. He said, honestly, I came in, a little like, He said, but I tell you, he said, I'm excited. He said, this is the first training ever. And he had been teaching, I think, 15, 20 years himself. He said, this is the first training ever. I feel like I could take back what I made and what I have. And if school starts next week on Monday, I feel like I can use these activities immediately. He said, I feel that confident in what I learned today to utilize back in the classroom.
That is neat. And that's a testimony to you, but it's also a testimony to him.
Yes.
That he came in there not really thinking he was going to get much out of it, but something opened his heart, opened his mind. And I think there's a lesson in that for all of us, that we may not always want to go to that training. We may not always want to have to deal with that kid, or we may not always want to have to deal with that parent, or be next door to that teacher. But if we open our hearts and we open our minds, there's opportunities and there's neat things all around us.
Yes.
And he was brave enough to open his heart, open his mind, and take in the good things about it. And then he went a step further and thanked you for it. Are we thanking each other enough?
Right.
I feel like there's a podcast right there.
Yes.
Are we thanking each other enough?
And I really want anyone watching or listening to this that is interested in our training to know, yes, we are ELAR, but any subject matter could attend our training and have a takeaway. I've had even specials teachers. I've taught at a school that was a K through 12, tiny school up in the Panhandle many years ago before COVID happened. And it was the whole school. And I remember the music teacher kind of doing the same thing. By the end of it, she came to me. She said, look, I'm not ELAR. So these things we did, the teaks don't necessarily pertain to me, but the craft
does.
She said, I was thinking the whole time as you were teaching it with nouns, she said, I was thinking of how can I use it in my math activities. She said, so that's what I was doing over there. She's like, I promise I was listening, but I was jotting down as you were teaching it with your teaks, how it fits with mine.
Oh,
and I love that.
Good. I love that so much.
So so if you've never had us or you're curious and your principal, you tell your principal and they're like, that's just ELAR, let them know it really could apply to everybody.
All of it, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We're going to really let you go now.
Yes.
Bye.